Hello, I'm Anthium. Welcome to TwoTales, and this is TwoTales Talks. Now, today's subject is something that I actually have called for in the last two videos, which is I want to talk about something that hasn't been talked about a while in regards to the Amico community, and that is Intellivision's mission statement and the pillars that they are basing the Amico system on. Um, I think the topic is important. It's important because it really defines a lot of the reasons why it has my support. And it's not even really, I've heard the accusation recently that it's blind support for the product, and it's not really true. We are taking what we have seen and experienced with what is being promised and saying, hey, this is a reasonable potential conclusion. And ultimately, we vote with our dollars, right? And if for some reason that Intellivision does not hold to what is being offered, well, then they lose the business. That's basic business. It's not blind, trust in a company. It's being a consumer, right? And a consumer, you have to gauge these things. So let's really get down to the topic at hand here. I got my chillin' like villain outfit. I got my nice cup of coffee concentrate, cooled down with a scoop of chocolate marshmallow ice cream. So yeah, I'm doing right dandy. So with that being said, first and foremost, what is actually the mission statement of Intellivision? It's to bring family and friends back together with the use of technology. And that technology is being presented in the form of the Intellivision Amico. It is a family-oriented game system, and there's a couple of things to really think about how the system is being done when you consider the four pillars that the company is based on. And the goal with the mission statement is to ultimately bring people back together by basically offering trust and value in the company. I've talked about these two topics before. The concept of trust is ultimately going to come down to Intellivision doing exactly what they say they're going to do. And from where I'm sitting, from what I've seen, what I know about the tech industry, because again, I manufacture integrated circuits. The insides of microchips, it's the smallest component in the electric industry. Um, and so I understand a lot of what's going on business-wise with COVID and that sort of thing. But I also, from being a family guy, I understand a lot of what Tommy Tellerico and the videos have shown and that sort of thing. And maybe I'll do a specific video because I don't think I really talked about it outside of being a family guy and that being my primary motivation. I don't think I've talked about why I personally really want the Amico. But with that being said, so trust, they have to execute on what they promise, right? Value comes down to basically a three-pillar pyramid triangle type system that stretches and morphs as it goes along. And that triangle, or the three components of value for me, is defined by basically either excelling in price, excelling in quality. Higher the quality, the higher the price, which is actually a bad thing. The lower the quality, the lower the price, which is actually a good thing. Again, the Amico is sitting right smack dab in the middle. They're not as pricey as like the next gen consoles. They're offering not only hardware to back up their claims, but they're also offering a lot of intangibles. The assurity of safety as far as age ratings, which is actually something I talked about in my previous video about beat 'em ups. Do take a look at that. There's a lot of factors that go into value for me. And in that case, the price point's right where I can afford it. I can't afford what the next gens potentially are. And even then, the game price points speculating at being like 70, approaching $80. Even if they're $60, that's a tough price point for me. And as such, the prices that the Amico is boasting for the apps and the games and so forth, being that like $299 to that $10.99 price range, not counting physical media and special stuff. That's much more doable. So let's move off trust value. Let's move away from the mission statement. Let's get to the actual four pillars of the company, and that is simple, affordable, family, entertainment, and that, of course, in an anagram spells safe. That's one of the big selling points right there, is that the system is designed to be safe. You do not have to be online all the time. At startup, there's not the online interaction thing. It may come later based on consumer demands. That's very important because television is saying, hey, no, we're going to listen to you. And if this is what you want, we will find a way to make it happen. And it will be very, very interesting to see how they will do in 1 to 2 years based on consumer feedback and demands and so forth. And you better believe I'm going to be involved in that. I found the system to be very winsome, and so maybe I will actually do a video on my personal desires for the system, other than the fact that this is about my family. So starting from the top, the simple topic, which is actually probably the most complicated, there's actually a video. It's about friction, the concept of friction applied to business and the consumer market. I want to say it's done by Intellivision Nation. I might have that name wrong. If I can, I will find the link and either be in the description below or I'll put a card up here. But it encapsulates the concept of the simplicity very, very well. But a few highlights from me. The lower the price point, the easier it is to get in. That's low friction. It's simple that way. The console comes with 6 games already built on. I don't have to worry about spending extra money on games. The 6 games hit all sorts of different genres, all sorts of different number of players. Um, that gives me options right from the get-go, which means I don't have to cherry pick different games. So that's good. It comes with 2 controllers instead of the typical 1 by today's standards, but there's an app that'll work on smartphones and tablets that allow up to 8 people in on day 1. That is immensely. I already have the app actually. There's a demo on it. The demo is supposed to be expanded. If you bought merchandise from the company like I did, you get a gold ticket that enters you into a drawing. I think the entry time is closed for that. I'm not sure, but the point is they're using that app for a couple of different ways. But it's going to become an online controller when the system is out, and that makes everyone playing very simple. And that's very big for my family. I've got a 5-person family, an extended 6th person that's actually living with us. Any way I can get everybody to sit down and play together, that's a big win. And there needs to be a family game night. There needs to be a time for families to sit down and have a communication. So I'll try and find the link, but I believe it's Intellivision Nation again. I think that's his name. But it's a video about friction in reference to the Intellivision Amico, and it's a brilliant video. It really encapsulates it as well. So we're going to move right on to the next one. Affordable. Now, I've already said this, right? So it's coming with 2 controllers, so I don't have to buy a second controller. It's coming with 6 games on it, so I don't actually have to buy games at start unless I really want to. And again, the price point for that is $10 or less, probably 10 to 5 for games. And I think Tommy recently led that $2.99 to like the $4.99 bracket for like apps, which I'm really curious about that. What are they offering for like app wise that supports the machine? Again, you start out with the controllers and so forth. Um, the more they pack in there, right? Especially if it's a high quality level, they're hitting that sweet point where they're nailing the affordable price for what's available on the machine. The fact that it's not physical hardware straight off the bat, but they're built-in digital games, more games make sense. You're getting 6. That's a really good starting point. They're also on all sorts of different genres, and there's footage of these games out there and commentary about the way the dice rolls sound for Farkle, a dice game. The certain features in Shark that is kind of like a party game with a competitive high score. I mean, as far as affordable goes, from where I am sitting and looking at it, with what comes with the console at launch, just the console, it's built in with games, extra controllers, easier to get people on without the extra investment, and the price point's about $250, not counting taxes. That's affordable in my book, far more so than some of the other options that are currently out there. So that's my thought on that one. So then you get to the family aspect. And if you're catching a theme here as I'm going along, all of these things are tying in together. Simple in getting people into playing, simple in getting people to buy the machine, simple in regards to operating it because you don't have to be online and that sort of thing. It's affordable because you don't have to buy the controllers that extra controller comes with it. It's affordable because all this stuff is actually tying together in a neat little package, and it's very well thought out. So when you start talking about family, it's pretty straightforward, right? The console, which is guaranteed to be the E to E10, which is the vast majority of games, which means everyone at any age range can basically play. On top of that, the company and Tommy have basically stated that they're seriously considering how to handle E10 games that revolve around straight up like humanoid on humanoid violence, like fighting games and beat 'em up games. And I did a video on my opinion of that. The truth of the matter is they take that seriously, and that adds a sense of trust in me because I know that they're taking their values seriously. They're concerned about how their choices are going to reflect upon the core tenets of the company. That's important to note. But yeah, really, the simple part for the family is that you're going to get a system right off the bat that up to basically depending on how many smartphones you have in your home or tablets, without any cost to you, you can have a family of up to like 6 to 8 people playing on day one. That's getting family back together. Now, a lot of people throw COVID out there, because of family living across country and friends not being able to get together. That's fair criticism. I know my YouTube community is they do podcasts on Wednesdays. I might be making this Wednesday podcast, and that's actually a topic. So I'm not going to address the COVID thing here. The point is they wrap up the family and the safety for younger children and the variety of gameplay real neatly. And then you get to the fourth one, which is entertainment. Now, entertainment is probably the most subjective of the four pillars for the company, but I've seen some behind the scenes footage after my interview with Tommy. You can check that out, part 4. We talk about a specific game, and I was the first person to see that footage. And I'm a heavy gamer. I tend to do more mobile now for convenience to my family, and I've got some mobile videos up. I've got a PC-ROM video up that I got from Blizzard from one of my favorite genres. It's called Blackthorn. Feel free to check those videos out. But the point is I'm a gamer. I play a lot of games, a lot of types, and I've also have an interest in developing, and I've looked into coding. I've dabbled with the Unity engine. I know a thing or two about what it takes to make a game, and the effort that goes into it, and the level of effort that is going into even just one of these games. And that's not even counting the other interviews that have talked about just the dice sounds for Farkle, that has talked about how the multiplayer and couch co-op are being added and then maintaining core. Everything is being very, very carefully and meticulously done. And I can tell you from what I've seen on the Cloudy Mountain in the background, this is far from a stereotypical mobile game as you're going to get. But as far as entertainment goes, though, the system is offering something that's not really talked about. It's something I like to bring up. And that is that the actual console, it plays with you. And what I mean by that is that the console has a light bar. And it's not like the motion controls on like the Switch, but of course, because when you dock the Switch, you take your Joy-Cons off, you lose those motion controls. The console is no longer interacting with you, unless it's the tabletop. But even then, that's not interacting with you. It's just a TV screen then. The Amico actually has a feature. It's a light bar. The light bar is directly tied to the games, right? So let's take it something that Tommy was talked to me about and referenced in my interview, and that is a game like Safecracker or Bomb Squad, and what can be done with that light bar. And you can do such things as you're being chased by the police and you have the red blue light. It can show you the high score player if you're playing a versus mode and who you actually have to look out for. It could be a sensor for treasure hunting, and it'll blink when you get close to where you're trying to go. It could be the red, green, blue, and a stoplight on a racetrack. All those things that console is communicating with you. It adds to that immersed feeling of just having fun in this simple concept. But then not only do you have that console playing with you, your controllers have LEDs. All of them do. And the colors will show you who is which player. If you're playing versus mode, and for example, he talks about Moon Patrol, every UFO that's attacking you that's a human player has a specific color, and you can tell who blows you up based on the color of the controllers. There's the RDFI. There's all this interaction. I even have some ideas in regards to how to use some of the features on the controller. One of the guys that does a podcast covering the Amico and that sort of thing, really nice guy, Mike Garvey, Mike's Oasis is his channel. Do check out his footage. He likes to talk about tapping the controllers together and getting them to communicate with the ID codes and bringing in special effects based on the games that you have purchased. And that's an awesome idea. There's so much you can do with that. So this right now, where as far as I know, to my personal experience, is you have a console that's going to play with you. It's going to use the light patterns to make the combinations for security locks. It's going to be like a countdown timer that slowly gets to red as you start running out of time. I mean, it's probably not going to be an E or E10 game, but say you have a survival game or you're playing a game where you can lose hit points, that could be like your character's life bar. It could go from green to yellow to red. And, there's a number of things that could be done there. But your controller, between having, force feedback, having motion controls, accelerometers, gyroscopes, being able to tap and communicate with other controllers as well as the console, the system promises to deliver group play in unique ways that we've really not seen before. And unless you sit back, like, and this is what I used to do. I used to be a tournament card player for Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually, and I would make a list of all my cards, monsters, effect monsters, traps, magic, and I would draw this line graph on how they all interacted together. And if they weren't closely woven together, I didn't move forward with the idea for the deck I was using. Draw a diagram, right? Put the Amico down. Put your TV down that's communicating information to you. Put down 4 controllers, because most systems you have about four controllers on average, I think, if you have a group play at the house, right? Now let's start drawing lines. Use your imagination there, right? So you're playing a game. It could be anything. We'll go with a racing game, right? So how is that going to work? All right. So first off, the console is going to show you red, yellow, green, go, race starts. So the console is communicating with you. You have the split screen potentially up on the screen or an overhead view of the map where everyone can see. So you got the visual feedback and that so forth. At the same time, each controller has a speaker and a microphone. So you're hearing your own engine, and all the controllers are vibrating and doing their own thing. But because of the other features, you very well could do something really unexpected. Like, for example, it could be that there's a bonus point, speed bump, something along those lines. Your controller could talk to you and say, hey, pay attention to this. Your controller could buzz. You could look at the screen. It should show you a picture of where you need to be, right, if you're doing very poorly. The point is it offers a way to play together that I've not seen elsewhere. Entertainment. It's got it in the bag from what I can tell. And I'm looking forward to seeing more. Now, this went on a little bit longer than what I wanted, so I'm going to cut it there. So upcoming next, the next really big video is going to be me talking about Tommy Tallarico's 10 Commandments of Game Development. It was a hot subject about 6 months to a year ago. No one's really talking about it right now. It's important to me, and it's the last step before I hit the project phase for this segment of the channel. I promised some gameplay from Sky, Children of Light. That's made by that gaming company. It is a mobile game. It's a beautiful little game. It's going to be a long play of about 20 minutes. I typically shoot for about 10 because this will be day 5. It'll be the end of the week of play that I usually promise to do, about a 5-day cycle for it. And then I'll be moving on to something that I think you guys will really, really enjoy. And again, I am looking at maybe being on the podcast tomorrow with Open Every Box Pete. And it could be a whole group of different people up there. I'm not sure who is slated to be on. But yeah, thanks for coming by. All the best to you guys. Stay foxy. I really wish you would stop when I click because it's really embarrassing to keep poking the button.